DG, channel 730, your freedom of sport.
This is the Legends Lounge podcast with Deji Omotoyinbo, Segun Agbede, and Mumini Alao. Well, a very warm welcome to the Legends Lounge podcast, episode 7. We took a break for a while because of various commitments involving myself and the two co-anchors. But we're back with this very, very special edition, which is not the regular podcast, but we're talking to a legend in his own right. One of Nigeria's finest sports writers and a shining light in the sports media industry is about to launch his autobiography. He's none other than co-anchor of the Legends Lounge podcast, Dr. Mumini Alao. I mean, it's very nice to introduce somebody who really needs no introduction. For those of you who are in the sports fraternity and even beyond that, I don't think Mumini needs any introduction. So Mumini is coming up with his biography. We're going to all be there at sports fraternity in the next few days. We'll be there to honor him because he's done a lot for Nigerian sports and football in particular. Mumini, good to have you on the show as as a guest.
Thank you, DG, and that makes me feel a little bit awkward. I'm used to firing the questions.
I know.
Taking
I know. I remember the day Dr. Ken brought me on his show, his radio show, as a guest in the same studio where I present shows, and I felt very awkward. So I can understand how you feel. All right, Mumini. Not because you're here, but you've inspired a lot of people in this industry. You've done a lot. You've trained a lot. You've mentored a lot. And your biography, let me start like that. Why are you writing a biography at this point? What formed that decision?
Yeah, thank you very much, Deji. And I think that's a very good place to start, honestly.
Yeah.
I'd always thought that I should write a biography of myself, an autobiography. I felt, having spent virtually my entire life, writing about other people, interviewing them, covering their events and writing about it, why not write about myself? I'm a writer, first and foremost. That was the first motivation. And then I have a trove of records.
Okay.
All right? From since when I was born, even before I was born.
Really?
Because my dad was very, very meticulous in terms of keeping records of myself and all my siblings.
Oh, okay.
Each of us have a file.
Oh, okay.
You have a file, and when that file is filled up, my dad will open a second file and a third file until you left.
For your personal records.
Until you left
school
under his care.
Oh, okay.
And then he will hand over all those files to
you.
So I have 3 bulky files that my dad handed over to me from before I was born. And I felt, what am I going to do with all these records if I don't put it together into a story? So that was the second motivation. And then, of course, I wanted to leave something for my children and grandchildren as well, for them to know the story of my life. So that's why I decided to write the autobiography.
Interesting. It's natural that this autobiography would appeal more to people in this sports fraternity than the general fraternity. But I'm sure that you've inspired people in the spheres of human endeavor as well, outside of the sports. And I'm sure they will want to listen, especially the business side of the business. Some people want to understand that. But let me ask you this. At what point did you discover that you had such a passion for sports that you felt this might be a career path?
Again, going back to my dad, he always said to me when he wanted to rebuke me, he would say, I know to do only 3 things in my whole life.
Okay.
That is to play. To eat. To sleep and to play. So that was all I was.
Why does that sound familiar to me? Sounds very familiar. I think I've heard that before, close to home.
That's all I'm useful for. Nothing else. So I played a lot. when I was young. I played. Looking back now, I wondered how I even passed.
How you became serious?
I was able to pass my examinations because I always played football. In fact, DG, one of the pictures that I have in my records is one of when I was in primary 5. And towards the end of the year, we'll have this group photograph, this class photograph. I think it still happens now.
Yes.
And that picture, DG, I was the only one in that picture with a football at my feet in that photograph. And I could sense that maybe what happened was that I was actually playing football when they called that we should come for that photo shoot.
And you carried your football.
I carried my football I loved. Obviously, I'll be going back to play
your football.
So I always played. And but when the point I started thinking about it as a career, writing about sports as a career was when I was in secondary school.
Okay.
And my teacher in English language and literature in English always encouraged me because he said I had a talent for writing.
Is that is that a Ghanaian?
A Ghanaian.
Okay, yeah, I think you've told me the story.
I think before. I told you that story.
Yeah.
John Amoa, Mr. John Amoa, a Ghanaian. So he was the first to mention to me that you could be a journalist. I heard it from Mr. John Amoa. The first person to say something like journalism to my ear was John
Secondary
Amoa.
school.
Secondary school. And here was I love football so much, I love sports so much. And somebody was saying I also had a talent for writing. So why not just put it together?
Was there any point with all that you were playing? Because there's always this joke that sports journalists or sports broadcasters or sports media men were those who failed to make it as professional footballers. So they devolved to the next best thing.
Okay.
Was that your story? Was there any point in time where you wanted to take football beyond just play, or there was no way your dad would have allowed that?
There was no way. In fact, there was a day my dad said he was going to pull me out of school because all I did was play anyway. That I might as well just come back home to play all the time.
Yeah.
So it never crossed my mind that I was going to be a professional sports person. But as I said, I always got involved all the way from primary to secondary to university. I played all the way to, I think, NYSC. I played for my state, Enugu State, where I served.
I did that too.
So that was the point that I retired. And of course, I also played the Swan Cup.
Swan Cup. Yes. All right. Okay, so let me go this direction. School life. Primary, secondary, you went to Unilag as well, your degree, and you went back for your master's and PhD as well.
Yeah.
But you studied what?
Mass communication.
Okay, so from Mr. Amoa had influenced you along that path.
Yes, it did.
And you studied mass communication. Did you ever consider any other area of the media outside of sports?
Never.
Never.
In fact, when I was in Unilag, I was the sports editor right from my second year. Traditionally, it was when you got to the final year
that they made you sports editor.
So I was sports editor in my second year, and as well in my final year. In fact, there was no contest when we got to the point of deciding who would do what on the Unilag Sun. I mean, everybody just knew that Mumini would be in charge of the sports. So I never considered any. I always wanted to be a sports writer, always. I remember that the first place that I applied to for work was Champion Newspapers.
Okay.
I was in Enugu when they publicized that they were going to start a new newspaper. That was in 1988. They were going to start in October 1988 to coincide with Nigeria's independence that year. Chief Emmanuel Umayan was the proprietor. So I didn't know at that time that, I didn't know all the details. I just saw that publication in the newspaper and I applied.
And you applied, okay.
And I actually applied for the role of sports reporter.
Okay.
And I was shortlisted for interview. But unfortunately, I missed the interview.
Oh, okay.
Because I was still in Enugu. By the time I got back to Lagos,
the interview
I held.
Oh, okay.
So I still went all the way anyway to say, look, I came late from Enugu because I was still a youth corper. Can you do something for me? And they said, okay, we'll give you a second chance and interview you for a general reporter role.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Well, I decided to take it with a pinch of salt, more or less. Okay, I was looking for a job.
Yeah.
So let me take it and we can, develop from there. But I flunked the interview.
It was not sports now.
It was not sports. So one thing led to the other, and I ended up at Complete Sports.
Okay, before we get to the Complete Sports story and your relationship with ESO, who were the sports journalists at the time that you looked up to, that you admired, that you read their writings? Of course, we all did a lot with SB and all of that. Who were the particular ones that you never wanted to miss their articles or their writings or their reports?
Ironically, it was ESO.
Okay.
It was ESO.
While he was in
ESO in 1980. Because he was the pioneer sports editor of the Sunday Concord.
Okay.
1980. Yes. 1980 was when I finished secondary school.
Secondary school, yeah.
And so I started reading him in Sunday Sport, in Sunday Concord. I even participated in his competitions. I even won a prize.
You won a prize? Oh, really?
That was the first prize I ever won in my life.
You didn't win any prize in secondary school?
No. What I mean is relating to sports.
Relating to sport. Okay,
Yes,
okay. All right.
So that was in 1980, 81, 1980, 81. But of course, I didn't get to meet ESO personally, physically, until 1987. Okay? 1988, when I finished my youth service. What happened between 1981 and 1988? Deji. You will read this in my book.
Okay, all right. Of course.
I want to leave that for the book.
No, of course, this is actually a teaser.
Yes.
We're imploring everybody, go and get the book. You cannot get the whole meat in 1 hour of this interview. Go and get the book. But so, you never considered working in any other line of work or industry beyond sports? Never. And you actually never did?
Never did.
Okay. So tell us the Complete Sports story. How did that come about? How did you join? I read something that Ehi Brahima wrote about you recently.
Yes.
So I gleaned a little bit of the stories, but maybe you just tell us
Yes.
how did you come about that?
A bit of that. When I missed the interview at Champion, one of my colleagues, Dr. Bolu Folayan, we were very close at Unilag.
Okay.
And he said to me, because he didn't miss the interview at the Champion.
Oh, okay.
And he had already been offered an employment.
Okay.
So he was looking forward to me joining him there. So when I flunked that interview, and I said, Mumini, you always regaled us about complete football when we were in school. You always talked about ESO all the time.
Why don't you go there?
Why don't you go there? So I would say he was the angel.
Catalyst.
Because I never thought about it, because there was no vacancy announcement from there. That was how I just walked all over. I just walked over to the place and they filled in the form and said I wanted to see ESO, and that was where
I wish I could see your picture. Then, young, you know how we were struggling that time, young, thin neck.
Yes, you will see
my
thin neck. You will see my thin neck in the book. You will see my thin neck in the book.
So how did he react to you? Was it the first time you went there, he actually allowed you to see him?
Oh, sure.
What was his reaction?
Well, he said to me, young man, what can I do for you? And I stated my mission. I just finished from Unilag, just finished my youth service. I want to write sports, and I thought that this is the place I should come to.
Okay.
I said, okay, that's fine. But we didn't advertise any vacancy. I said, yes, I know, but I came anyway. So he said, okay, well, there's work to do, but there's no pay. We don't have any money to pay. There's a lot of work, but we don't have any money to pay. We are a small organization. We're just starting, So I didn't have anything to lose.
Yeah.
So I took the bait. Yes, I said, oh, I'm sure, I'm willing to work, I'm ready to work. Yes, and I will work without pay. And that was how the journey started.
It's very similar to my story at DBS.
It has to be similar because we are from the same generation. And that is what I tell even young people today.
You have a passion for something, you have to be able to give up something.
Just when you get an opportunity to put your foot in the door, just leave it there. Let them slam that door and let it meet your foot there. But
You know,
keep the door.
Yeah, I was at
keep your
BBA
foot
for
there
3 months.
anyway.
One human resources manager now came in.
All right.
And when they were doing the payroll for that month, he now discovered that my name was not on the payroll.
Okay.
He now called me and said, what's happening? I see you do all these things. I said, I came here, I did IT, and I told them I wanted to work for free. He said, why did you do that? I said, well, I wanted to prove to them that
Yes.
after these 3 months, they will not let me go.
Exactly.
And I'm sure, so that's why I said
That
it was very...
That was the case with me. I spent 6 weeks, and after that, as you said, he wasn't going to allow me to go anymore.
They had shown the potential. They had seen it.
Absolutely.
So, the complete sports story
Yeah.
is one of the inspiring stories in sports media in Nigeria, probably across the world. Because at that point in time, I think there was the only sports newspaper across Africa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Sports only newspaper. And I'm sure there were periods of ups and downs, struggles and all that. I know everything is in the book, but can you just summarize for us how that journey was? Because I know I've read a couple of things, I've heard a couple of things that Eso said in his lifetime, how there was a struggle until 94 became a breakthrough. Can you just summarize for the sake of people in business to know that it's never a cakewalk?
Never. Actually, Complete Communications Limited actually started with Sportsvenia.
Yeah.
Okay, we were still in school when Sportsvenia started in 1984. I was still in University of Lagos. I'm sure you were in Ibadan.
Yes, I was in the
So it was when I finished in 87, I went and I joined in 88. By that time, Complete Sport had started. Complete Football had started. All right, so I joined Complete Football. Sportsvenia had been suspended. Complete Sports didn't come on stream until 1995. That was even after the USA 94.
So it was complete
Football. Complete Football magazine.
It was a pure football.
It was pure football.
Okay.
All right, and it was a magazine, monthly.
Monthly.
So that was what we were running with until 1995 when we decided to go daily with Complete Sports. And before that, we also had Complete Football International. Because at that time we wanted to compete with African soccer. We didn't want them to steal our market in Nigeria, so we responded with Complete Football International. Complete Football Local was focusing on domestic football, and Complete Football International was doing African football. Then came 1995, and we decided, look, I think it's time for us to go daily. Demola Olajire, Kaode Tijani, and one other colleague, they made a trial at running a sports daily. We saw it, okay, and but they weren't able to.
You're very successful with it.
Absolutely. We felt, look, if anybody could do a sports daily in Nigeria at this time, it has to be Complete Communications Limited, and that was how we went into it. And AG, you are talking about struggles. If there's another word to use, I think you can come up with this. It was bloody.
Yeah.
It was bloody. You see, because unlike a weekly or monthly publication,
It's 24/7.
If one doesn't do well, you can relax and a daily 24/7.
The pressure is relentless.
It is relentless, and it is a money guzzler.
Yeah.
Is a money guzzler, just like for you in broadcast, content, just guzzles your content and asking for more because you're broadcasting 24/7.
Yeah.
So it was very bloody, but we weathered the storm, and I think the big turnaround came briefly. We had a brief turnaround in '96. When we won the Atlanta 96 Olympic, that shot up our sales. We were able to do well, and then after that again, it went down. You know what we suffer in sports is when you win something.
It has to do with how well the Super Eagles.
Exactly, the euphoria.
And then if they don't do well,
that, So we enjoyed a bit of that euphoria with Atlanta 96, and after that, everything went back to normal,
base.
or shall I say abnormal. And we came close to closing Complete Sports down completely. All right, we came very close. The details of that story again,
I know.
book.
There's one story you told me that,
Yes.
that I'll recommend for them to hear the book.
Yes.
How you owed money,
Yeah.
and then you are called to a meeting. How do you want to pay this money back? Let's leave that.
Don't talk about
No,
that.
I'm not telling you that. That's the
Let
story
them-
for the book.
Exactly.
And I'm going to read it because when you told me the story, I nearly fell off my chair laughing. Because you see, the thing is, you knew SO, you worked with him very close.
Yeah.
What do you think? Two questions.
Okay.
One, what do you think drove his vision in the first place? What did he see that others didn't see to say that a sports media organization could succeed in Nigeria? Because there were doubts that you want to hold a whole paper, new sports. There were doubts. And then two, what sort of a human being was he?
All right. The first part, vision. That just encapsulates the kind of person that SO was. He was a visionary.
Yeah.
You know, we have people like that who will get into a room and they will see something that the rest of
No,
you
you
who
cannot
had been
see.
in that room for the past 50 hours.
Even if you open your three
you will
eyes.
not see it, and that person will walk in, and
And
the
see.
first thing he will see is that
Yeah.
all of you didn't see. You know, I think it's a gift. You know, sometimes it's a gift. Sometimes it's something that you can read, you know, get inspiration from books. That's already a lot of books.
Yeah.
I think that also fired his imagination. It fired his vision, you know. So he was a visionary. SO could see what you couldn't see.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of that is also in my book. Now, for him, that was the driving force. But then, talking about the struggles, he told me the story of Sports Souvenir, whereby when he went to the stadium, because you know he was sports editor, the Sunday Concord that I mentioned.
Yeah.
And he was also pioneer sports editor for the Guardian newspaper.
Yeah.
So he was a reporter.
He was a
an
reporter,
editor.
yes. Yeah.
You know. So he said, each time he went to the stadium and he saw the stadium full, and you know, back in the day, when Raka Rovers or stationary stores or shooting stars or Rangers,
filled 40, 50,
you know,
60,000
so he said he always felt, look, if I can put out a publication for this crowd, they will just be snapping it up. Oh. This is money to be made. Because the stadium was always full. But unfortunately, he didn't turn out that way. When he started Sports Souvenir, just with 1,000 copies, he couldn't sell more than 50.
Wow.
Because people just came to watch the game and they just walked
And
home.
then there are lots of free readers at the vendors
You know.
stand.
So people always wanted to free read and they want to pay. In fact, when I joined Complete Football initially, all my friends who knew I joined, they would be asking me for complimentary copies.
Can you imagine?
You know? And I'll be asking them, so if I gave everybody complimentary copies,
How are we gonna
how
make
am I
money?
going to get salaries? You know, so that struggle had always been there for publications, you know, whereby the crowd you see in the stadium does not necessarily translate into the number of people that will buy your publication. So, the second aspect, that is where the second aspect comes in, resilience. SO was a very resilient man. Very resilient man. Very resilient. I'm repeating that.
He always, no walls.
You know, he didn't see
didn't
any
see walls.
impossible. He
He
didn't
didn't
see
see
anything
obstacles.
was impossible. You know, so to be honest, I always marveled at his composure. You know, when we faced some difficulties, and I learned a lot from him in that respect. And the biggest lesson that I learned from that is that, look, no matter how huge you imagine your challenges are in any aspect of your life, okay, it will come to pass. As me and you, as we are sitting here now, Deji, if you look back, I'm sure you will think about some episodes that you will think the world
that was the end.
was going to end.
I've been talking, I remember one incident.
You know?
Deji, God bless me, Deji Snubu and I had been hit by some terrible business news.
Okay.
And in front of the radio station in Ikoyi, we stood in front of each other. We were looking at each other for like 3 minutes. And we didn't know what to say.
What to say.
And everybody was looking at us like, what's wrong with these guys? Because we had been hit below the belt financially. So I get that.
You can understand what I'm talking about.
I can understand it. And I've worked for a couple of people who had that.
But here you are.
Mentioned, yeah.
But here you are now.
Yeah.
You didn't die after all.
Yeah.
You survived it after all. I think that's something to
that
be shared
statement
with
you
people.
made,
Yeah.
it shall come to pass.
Yeah.
I have an older brother who is a pastor. And anytime you're going through anything, when you said it was a poignant reminder, he will tell you, Deji, it shall come to pass.
Shall come to pass.
That is a very popular phrase in the Bible. It shall come to pass that whatever it is, it will come, it will go, and you will survive it.
Yes.
And that, I think that is a huge lesson for upcoming generations, young men who are still trying to make their way in any sphere of life. I mean, even the richest people in the world have challenges.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
so it's not about, a lot of people feel once you are comfortable financially, then no. Every single human being walking the face of the earth has a challenge or the other.
That's very true.
That is worrying them. So, Complete Sports made such a huge impact in our lives growing up. Because that was our go-to because, you know, I think one niche that made Complete Sports eventually succeed was the fact that if we buy Shoot, if we buy all these international magazines, there was little mention of Nigerians.
If at all, back then.
If at all.
Shoot match.
But your organization came up with stories, human angle stories, behind the scenes stories about Nigerians
on the cover.
Yes.
Every day.
And because
which had not been done before.
These guys had become stars.
Yeah.
And we needed to relate with them.
Yes.
So on a personal note, on your journey as a reporter, everybody knows how it looks like you are even the media officer for the 94 team, even though I knew you were not. But that journey, what sort of impact did it have on your professional career? That journey with you traveled a lot with the 94 team, even during qualifiers, then when they went to the Olympics, even the Olympics in 96 and all of that. How was that journey for you as a professional?
Deji, it is now that we talk about it. And when I was writing my book, that I actually realized the impact of that period on my career, to be honest with you. Because back then, I was just working. I threw myself 100% into the job. And I didn't notice whatever impact that I was, you know, either myself or the work that I was doing was making on the sports fraternity, to be honest.
You were just simply doing your job.
To be honest, I didn't think about it. I didn't know about it. To be honest, I didn't. You know, it was a long, more than 20 years after, when people, you know, when people now see me and they talk about it, or some of my staff, they will be mentioned, you know, they'll be talking about it. And so I started looking at myself.
Like I say, shame me not, is it me?
You know, because for me, I was just doing my job and I was just enjoying
yourself,
it. You know, so but looking back, I agree, you know, with the sentiment that the job that Complete Football did, you know, during the coverage of how Nigeria qualified for the World Cup and you know, me traveling regularly with the team, reporting
winning the Nations
Cup in Tunisia, going all the way to USA 94, and then all the way again to Atlanta 96, which I wrote another book on now, you know, recently. Yeah, I think I was fortunate, you know, to be at the right place, you know, at that time.
It's a case where, like you say, preparation meets opportunity.
Well,
and I think that's what happened to Complete Sport as an organization, because when you started, nobody knew Nigeria was going to qualify for that World Cup. It was not certain, and nobody knew Nigeria was going to do so well at the Olympics. But you guys, or you had that. I was coming to that. You had that belief in that crop of players. I could feel it in your writings, in your reports.
Not only that, we took it as a mission that Nigeria had to qualify for the World Cup.
Okay.
In fact, the two previous World Cups, 82 in Spain that we missed, and the one before that again,
78 that the ODA,
77, okay,
and then
ODA,
the 82, 81 we lost at the National Stadium to Algeria.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the next one, we're talking 78, 82. We're talking 90.
We want to go 86, 90.
86, 90.
86, 90.
The two previous ones. Segun Odegbami was deputy editor of Complete Football.
Okay.
And he was the one running a series on how Nigeria could qualify for the World Cup.
Okay.
You know, Segun Odegbami was a footballer.
Yeah.
That 78, 82 era.
Yeah, that they nearly qualified.
But by the 90, 94 era, he was already retired.
Yeah.
and he was deputy editor of Complete Football. And he was writing in Complete Football how Nigeria could qualify for the World Cup. But we still didn't qualify. So we now, all the lessons that we learned on that failure, we now brought it on board for the 94. And we went out on a mission. I remember, and it's in the book, I crafted
A headline.
for that mission, you know. I won't say it.
No, leave it.
I won't say it.
Let them go and get the book.
It's in the book.
Yeah.
And you know what? We achieved that mission. We had a code name for the mission.
I honestly felt like
We had a
the
code name for the
success of
mission.
that period
Yes.
and the local awareness and the local buzz and vibe that was generated, Complete Communications Organization had a lot to do with it.
Absolutely, and I say that with all modesty.
I think it had a lot to do with it.
I say that with all modesty. I remember what Victor Ikpeba told me when I visited him in his house in Belgium. I remember when what Stephen Keshi said to me after we finally got that World Cup ticket. I remember what Chidi Nwanu said to me in his house, also in Belgium, you know. So they were fired up, you know, because it was the first time that they will see a Nigerian media organization go to that length to support them, to motivate them.
And you know, maybe bringing it, contextualizing it in the present day. Yeah, there were things that went wrong. Yeah, there was this same administrative lapse and all that. But you guys focused on the positives and the possibilities. And you left all that. You know that we can qualify for this World Cup, no matter what anybody thinks. And you believe that. And I think that belief translated, you're talking about the players now, translated to the players also believing. Because I remember, anytime any particular player does well at the weekend, you guys slammed it on a Monday. You know, he gave us belief that our guys are good enough.
Yes.
We can do this. And I think it was a very, I think this fact has not been stated well enough.
And the way I would like to put it again, Deji, is this. There's this general belief that it is bad news that sells.
Exactly. That's exactly where I'm going. That's why I said contextualizing
There's
it
this
to the
general
present.
belief that it is bad news that sells. In our own case,
You
at
chose to
Complete
be
Football,
positive.
at Complete Sports, it is good news that we sold.
Yeah.
It is good news that we sold. And we sold.
Yeah.
We were able to break that jinx that it is bad news that sells. We were selling good news about the players, about their performances,
Even
and we were selling
human angle stories.
hope. We were selling hope and expectation. You know, we were selling positivity, and I think eventually we were able to mobilize.
You've
the
been
fans.
involved in some of the high points physically there of Nigerian football. Which one? Maybe from the night we qualified in Algeria for the 93 World Cup, the night we lifted the 94 94 Nations Cup, the great results in the USA, Bulgaria, Spain in 98 and all of that. Which one, if I can force you to pick one, would you say gave you the goose pimples or the utmost happiness as a Nigerian to say, oh, these guys have done this, and you're so happy you couldn't control your happiness? And which one?
That's a very easy one.
Okay.
Very, very easy. Atlanta 96 gold medal.
Gold medal, wow.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable feeling, Deji. I felt on top of the world. You know? August 3rd, 1996.
Yeah.
Atlanta. Amazing.
How was that night?
Amazing.
How was that night
Unbelievable.
for Nigerians? at this
Beating
stage?
Brazil a few days before
And
the
then-
final,
and then beating
Argentina. Two
super
super powers of world football.
And who didn't have a weakened Olympic team?
What are
They
you
came
talking-
with all
they
the
came with
mega
all the-
stars.
What are you talking about? And their coaches were former world champions. You know, so that was top of the world for Nigeria. You know, and for me as a journalist, it beats everything that I've witnessed in terms of Nigeria's achievements.
You know, at 2006, I was a broadcaster at DBN.
Right.
And I still tell people that it's almost 20 years. I still tell people that I've done a whole lot of things after that.
Yeah.
But I still feel that that was my breakthrough, and that was the high point of my career.
All right.
As a because it was so, you remember, you remember our studio. Remember our studio.
Be careful.
Let me tell you the stories, guys. DBM back then was on the 23rd floor of Eko Court. You know Eko Court in Lagos, on the Lagos Island. And I invited Mumini as a guest. What I deliberately did not tell him was the fact that at the time I asked him to come, it was likely that the elevator would have been shut down. And he had to climb 23 floors. You know what? On the night we won that medal,
All right.
the floors, the elevator had been shut down because, time difference was in the night. About 30 fans climbed those stairs
Wow.
to come and celebrate with us in the studio.
Wow.
It was amazing.
It was
so I can
amazing.
imagine
Yes.
we were here.
Yes.
So I can imagine you that were you people that were there over there live, how it must have been.
I can't even find the words, to describe it, Deji. You could see that I
I can see that you have a book about that as well.
Yes.
The Making of Nigeria's Dream Team, the book
Yes.
that he had launched earlier
Yes.
before this biography.
Exactly.
And this captures it.
That captures the whole Atlanta 96 stories. And that book is already on Amazon for those who want to get it.
Okay.
It's already on Amazon. You just Google the title and it will pop up.
It will pop up. Okay.
So it's already there.
So you want to capture the excitement and know the back end stories of how we won that gold medal. You can go to Google and the Making of Nigeria's Dream Team football gold medal winners Atlanta 96, and it still gives you goosebumps.
Absolutely.
Especially the
Honestly.
Brazil game.
Semi-final.
But yeah, the setup for the Brazil game.
Yes, I was there.
3-1 down. How did you feel?
We had given up. Obviously. In fact, you remember Deji. Immediately we came in for the second half, Brazil
They
scored the
a
fourth goal.
that I felt was a
That
good
was,
goal.
which was a good goal,
But the referee chalked it
but
off.
it was chalked off. If we had VAR,
Back then.
it would have been 4-1 and it would be game over.
Game over.
But then, number one, that goal was chalked off, and then soon after,
We had a penalty.
before the penalty, Zagallo, who was on the bench with Brazil, I think they had also Pereira and the rest of, it was a full bench.
Yeah.
Brazil wanted to win the gold medal.
Medal,
They already
yes,
won the
because
World Cup several times.
They hadn't won the gold medal.
They hadn't won the gold medal.
Exactly.
Exactly.
They hosted 2012.
They had it,
also.
for them it was big business. I remember I went to their hotel. They had they took over a whole hotel.
Hotel.
They didn't keep their players in the Olympic camp like other teams. They took a whole hotel. They came all out for that gold medal. 3-1. That goal was chalked off, and then they removed Ronaldo. They wanted to keep Ronaldo for the final.
They were sure.
All right, because at 3-1 they thought it
game
was
was
all
over.
So for me, that goal that was chalked off and Ronaldo's removal opened the door for Nigeria to make a comeback.
You know the kind of songs that Nigerians created about Bebeto and all of that. Don't let's go into that. Now, present day media.
Yeah.
We talked about there is a whole lot of negativity. Like we said, it looks like people believe it is only negative stories that sell. There's a whole lot of banter. There's a whole lot of having to force my opinion on other people. My goat is Ronaldo. My goat is Messi.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But why do you now want to downplay the achievements of one to elevate the other? Two truths can exist side by side. A lot of things happen. What do you think can be done? Because I feel that, honestly, this continuous promotion of negativity doesn't help us.
Unfortunately, Deji,
That's the way of the world.
I'm sorry to say that there's no going back, especially with the advent of social media. There's no going back. Just a few days ago, I read in the news that the Australian government, they are banning access for young people to social media. Complete ban. Complete ban. All right. So the world is stuck with it. Social media, of course, has a lot of positivity.
Yeah.
The internet has a lot of, positivity. but a lot of people use it for the negatives, unfortunately, and there is no control. You know, we were trained, you know, as journalists, and when you talk about gatekeeping, it comes with a lot of responsibility.
But not everybody's
the
a
gatekeeping
journalist.
ensures that some things that should not get into public view
You don't get
there. All right, but now, you know, everybody's a publisher, everybody's a broadcaster, everybody's
everything.
everybody's everything. So that is the price the world has to pay. You know, for the advent of social media. Of course, I'm not against social media. I use social media. We all use it. I'm not against internet. The internet is very in fact, I think the internet is one of the greatest innovations by mankind.
For journalists especially.
For, you know,
remember for us, those days when you will rewinding. What do you want to call it? There's a term for it. You say you ask, what's that word? If I remember, you will play a tape.
Yeah.
Transcribing.
Oh,
you will go to you play a video. You for us on TV. You record news.
In fact, many of my trips to Europe, DG, when I traveled and I recorded the interviews,
you go back to your hotel.
When it's on the flight,
you'll be transcribing.
On the flight back from Europe, I will start my writing because the deadline for publishing is just going to be 2 days after I arrive in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So I'll start my work immediately on the plane. It's 6 hours flight. I'll be writing. I'll be transcribing.
What was your first assignment outside Nigeria?
Outside Nigeria, that was a game against Ghana Black Stars in Kumasi.
Was it part of the qualifiers?
No. It was the Nations Cup qualifiers.
Nations Cup qualifiers.
Yes. Okay. That was the match where Aloyagu lost his tooth.
Oh yeah, I remember
in Kumasi. Abedi Pele was the star of the Ghana Black Stars at that time. So that was my first assignment. I went by road to Accra, and then from Accra to Kumasi. You know, but my first European trip was to Belgium to do the Etimesin story. It's in the book.
It's in the book. So you know, this book is a trove of stories that you want to see. Now, let's go back to family. You and I have talked a lot. You've talked a lot about your father. What is the major impact he had on your life?
Two. And I think the two most important things in my life. And that's why I dedicated this book, to my dad.
Yeah.
And also to Eso.
Sonny Ojagbesi.
Yes, because those were the two most impactful people in my life.
Your life. Yeah.
Talking about my dad, it was my dad that taught me how to write. All right, because each time we went out, or we went on holidays, on a vacation, or we visited a relative, or did something, you know.
He'll tell you to write the story when
we get back home, I must write a composition.
On what happened?
On what happened.
Wow.
And my dad would go through the composition with a red ink.
Corrections.
Corrections and did all of that.
That red ink in primary school.
You know. So if eventually I make a living out of writing, you can.
That was the root.
That was the root.
That was where it started from.
And the other thing that I got from my dad is my character. The first thing, the most important thing my dad taught me was integrity. And I say with all modesty that my whole life has been guided by that. My personal life, my professional life, my relationships, my everything, my whole life has been guided by that principle. You know, I do not
compromise on that.
Anything that will stain my personality or I will just let it go. I'll just let it go. So I think that answers your questions in terms of the impact of what I took from my dad. Those were the two things. Eso, well, while my dad prepared the ground in terms of my writing ability, Eso polished it. You know, from the journalistic point of view. I could write very well, but I couldn't plan good pages.
Okay. That's the professional edge you lack.
I couldn't plan good pages, and particularly for those of us in the print media, not these days where everything is done on the desktop by graphic artists. We didn't have graphic artists of that, back then.
You were your own graphic artist.
We had to plan our own pages.
Yeah.
You will do the interviews, you will transcribe your stories, you will write it.
You plan the page.
You will plan the page, and then you now give it to the artist to cut and paste. They will paste what you have planned.
Yeah.
So, and SO was the master page planner. For those of us you are in the broadcast.
Yeah, but I did a bit of.
You knew. You know that even after you have written a beautiful story or you have beautiful photographs, you still need somebody to put it together to make the page appealing.
Aesthetically appealing.
SO was a master
in
that. In fact, back then in 1980, when I started reading him in the Sunday Concord, those were the first things that attracted me. Even before reading the stories, when you open the pages, the attraction, the beauty, the arrangement. So SO was number one. So when we talk about SO's School of Sports Journalism, all of us who went through that tutelage, myself, Ibrahima, Frank Ilaboya, Sam Audu, and the rest of us, we are talking about, the skill to plan a proper page. You will get that from SO. And what you'll also get from SO is an eye for detail.
Yeah.
An eye for detail. SO was verbose in terms of, painting, using words.
Pictures.
Yes, to paint pictures
in your mind.
So that by the time you read a story, you don't need to be at the venue.
Yeah.
And
you put the story in your mind's eye.
That was what I also took from SO, and because most of my readers, when they tell me that, they say, look, Mumini, when we read your reports, we don't have to go to the venue anymore. Soccer
Talk.
Yeah.
Your very popular article.
Yeah.
Mondays? Was it Mondays?
Mondays. Then I shifted it to Wednesdays, then Thursdays.
And that has won you many awards. Soccer Talk.
Yeah.
How did you come about the topics? Was it pre-planned or at time off the cuff?
Mostly off the cuff. Mostly. Mostly off the cuff. Because when it started, I started in complete football. And as I said, complete football was a monthly.
Yeah.
So which means I was writing occasionally.
Occasionally, yes.
But when Complete Sports started, and Complete Sports was a daily, I started writing weekly. Okay? And the fact that the frequency, made it possible for me to now respond to issues, more spontaneously, and the articles were more current. So I think that's what really fired Soccer Talk. So most of the time, my titles were inspired by what was happening most currently. And again, actually my first book was on Soccer Talk.
Yeah.
A collection of some of my articles. So to be honest, even me, when I look back now, and I still enjoy.
You wonder.
I still enjoy
going back to
read some of those stuff.
And contextualize against what happened at the time. Okay, you are more or less, you're not retired, but you're a bit more behind the scenes now in terms of being a writer, a reporter, or anything. Any plans to get involved because I know you have a PhD, you are a doctor full-fledged, and you have inspired me. I'm going back to school.
That's very good. That's very good.
Any plans to, or how do we, because we can't let this body of knowledge go.
Yeah.
What are your plans in terms of, you've influenced a lot of people, you've imbibed, a lot of people have seen, you were a mentor, you've trained a lot of people, but how would I put it now? Any plans for you? I'm not saying start a school or something, but maybe take some lecturing job in some mass comm departments and all of that. So people who are, because I've always felt mass comm departments, which I've been trying to do, should have maybe 1 or 2 courses for those who want to go into sports, whether broadcast, whether print. Any plans along those lines to your body of knowledge to pass it down to aspiring students or journalists and all of that?
Well, Deji, that is why I actually took a PhD.
Okay.
I plan to go back to school, you know, to share my knowledge and experience with young upcoming journalists. And I felt that for me to be able to do that, having a PhD would enhance
definitely.
You know, my chances of doing that. That is primarily why I went to do a PhD.
Okay.
So down the line, it's something that I plan to do. I have had some offers, to be honest with you, but they just didn't fall within the axis that I wanted.
Okay.
You know, because I've been spoiled by one thing, Deji. My whole career, my residence to my office has not been more than 10 minutes drive. That's the maximum. Sometimes it's actually 5 minutes drive.
So long haul drives.
So now that I'm even older, I can't see myself now going long distances. I've been spoiled by, you know, living close to my
It has to be convenient for you.
to my workplace. So that's why I've not taken some of the offers that I got. So I'm looking for something that will be within my environment. And so I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
Thank you.
What's the next thing for you? You've talked about this lecturing and all that.
Yeah.
But right now, what's the next thing for Mumini Alao?
Well, I'm doing a bit of a consultancy. Those of us who have moved from the front
to
field
the
to the back field, that's what we are supposed to do. And that's putting food on my table. Beyond that, I've started a golf website.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do you play golf?
Not yet.
We're in the same boat. I've been dragged up and down.
Not yet, but, but I'm going to start playing because now that I've started writing about it, because I started following golf when Tiger Woods came on the scene, and so apart from football, it's a sport that I've been following very religiously. So I decided to also start, you know, writing about it.
Okay, golf. We will talk. We will talk.
That's good.
Favorite sports athlete of all time? One. Okay, let me grant you two. Let me grant you two.
Favorite sport athlete of all time?
Of all time, yeah.
I didn't think about that before now.
Well, that's what I'm interviewing you.
That's a hard one.
Okay, let me put it this way.
Okay, all right.
Favorite Nigerian athlete or sports athlete of all time?
Okay.
Foreign.
And then foreign.
So let's give you one local, one global, so
Okay.
to speak.
Okay, so favorite for home, I will go for Rashidi Yekini. I will go for Rashidi Yekini. Rashidi Yekini was a bomb.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, talking about what Nigeria did 1994 and the rest of them, Rashidi Yekini was in the forefront.
Yeah.
And as a person, because I interviewed him closely,
yeah.
you know, in fact, I say it everywhere proudly that I was the one that gave him the nickname Ghost Father.
Ghost Father, yeah.
I gave him that
Ghost
nickname.
Father.
So Rashidi Yekini is my favorite of all time, Nigeria.
International.
International. It's a hard one. But let me come more recently. I will go for the athlete, the 100 meters, 200 meters world record holder, Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt. Yeah.
Okay. The final question before we talk how we can get these books. Final question would be: what's your favorite local football club side? We know your favorite international, but I'll let you mention it anyway.
Well,
what's your favorite local football club side? Which team do you support locally?
Up City.
Shooting Star.
Up City.
And of course, we know Liverpool.
You'll never walk alone.
So, Mumini, can you just tell us, for the benefit of those watching, the book is going to be launched in the next 1 week from when we are recording, but how do they pick up this book?
Yes, the book is already on Amazon.
Okay.
All right, for those in diaspora. Okay, once you put it in your browser, it will pop up.
Okay.
And you can place your order. Then for those who want to buy in Nigeria, the book will be on Roving Heights Bookstore.
Roving Heights.
Roving Heights Bookstore. Roving Heights Bookstore, again, you can Google their name, and they have shops.
And you can order from there.
And then you can get the book. So those are the places where the books are already on sale now.
So when you, by the special grace of Allah, when you turn 70 or 80, are we going to expect?
Well,
are you going to updated versions as you grow older?
We will have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see.
One word on Nigerian sports. Where we are. That's the final word. One word on Nigerian sport. How will you encapsulate Nigerian sport?
We still have a lot of work to do.
I said one word.
One word. One word. One word. Infrastructure.
I like that. I completely agree to that.
Sports infrastructure.
I completely agree to that. That's brilliant. That's the way to wrap it up. Mumini, congratulations on your books. And please go out there and look for these books, The Making of Nigeria's Dream Team. There's also Soccer Talk.
Yes.
And then Mumini Alao, my autobiography. I assure you, this book is the bomb.
Let me say my final word. If you buy this book and you read it and you are not happy with it, I will leave my number with Deji. What do we say? Guarantee, payback guarantee.
Payback guarantee. Okay, a refund. You make a refund.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's to show you the quality in the book. Mumini, thank you for everything you've done for Nigerian football, for Nigerian sports.
Thank you, Deji.
For Nigerian media. You've been a shining light and icon in the industry. And I'm very sure a lot of the people in the industry will let you know that at the launch of this book.
Thank you very much.
I can assure you of that.
Thank you.
So, thank you for joining us on this very special edition of the Legends Lounge podcast. Media legend Mumini Alao is here with us. And of course, his autobiography is out. Simply titled, My Autobiography. Go out there and get it. It will be worth your while. My name is Deji Omotoyinbo. We'll be back with Mumini and Segun. Lots of issues to talk about in the Nigerian sporting scene. We'll be back with that in the next few weeks. Thank you for watching.